What is up, my friends? I want to thank you for stopping by. You got Stirk here, and I'm coming at you with another video, Shiny Fixes Part 2. I had a lot of fun doing the first part, and I did not expect to come at you with another Shiny Fixes video this quickly, but the other videos I tried to do just weren't working out. My computer is still pretty limited and pretty slow, so there's only so much I can do right now, so let's just go ahead and hop into the video. Previously on Shiny Fixes, but before I do that, if you haven't went and watched it, now's your chance because I'm about to spoil the 6/5/6/ whatever you want to call it that I did. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. This is what I came up with last time. I was very proud of how they turned out. I am a very amateur Photoshop person. I am very aware that I'm not very good at it, but I had a lot of fun with it. Really happy with how the color schemes turned out, and I wanted to get creative again, so this time I'm bringing you 10 of them. So let's just go ahead and hop in. At number 10, we have Gengar. If you've ever seen Gengar, you probably love its design. You probably think it's really cool, and you probably agree with me that its shiny is really bad. Look at the screen. Which one's the shiny and which one isn't? The trained eye might know. But at the same time, one's purple, one is grayish purple. It's really hard to tell the difference between them. They didn't do Gengar any justice with this. When you think about how to fix the shiny, it's such a beloved Pokemon. I want to make it something that people are going to be drawn to that also just looks good and different from what you get with a normal Gengar. You could make it kind of white like it's Mega, and that would look very cool, very iconic, and that would have been a great way to go with it. I did consider that. I had a mock-up of it. I decided I wanted to go with this instead. Gengar's OG design looked a whole lot more like a shadow, and that's kind of what it is. It's supposed to be this shadow specter being type thing, and instead they're like, ha, funny purple chunky ghost, which, it still looks great. But if you go back and look at its old artwork, I just feel like it looked so much better. So I feel like this shiny would be a great callback to what its design used to look like. Having this purple outline around it really kind of makes it pop so that you can still see it with a dark background. I think it looks very cool and vibrant. Once again, ignore the fact of how bad the tracing around it is that I did. I am no professional, but I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I really wish this were Gengar's real one. But since I didn't do the best job on it, I had that at number 10. Coming in at number 9, I asked people to, hey, open up, send me some shinies that you think would need a good fix. And my friend Colin came through, and he said, hey, I think that Golduck needs a shiny fix. And I can't help but agree with him, because Golduck is a cool Pokemon that has really kind of just been done dirty its entire existence. We all agree this should be a water and psychic type. Why is it just a pure water type? When they changed from 2D sprites to 3D models, I think Golduck just kind of looked a lot more like lanky and awkward, as opposed to something that used to be kind of intimidating, like, oh, it's this duck that turns into this reptilian beast duck type thing. And I just feel like that change was already a little bit tough. And on top of that, its shiny's just not great, okay? I like that blue. I think it's a much better blue than the original Golduck. It's cool that they made its beak and the webbed part red to really kind of pop out. The jewel and its eyes don't really change that much. It's really not bad. It does not look different enough for my liking. When you look at Psyduck, it goes from this great yellow to a bright blue, and it's just complete 180, like, whoa, that is a lot different. And both look really cool. And my friend Colin had a great idea. Why don't we, for once, make Golduck a gold duck? Use Psyduck's coloring for it. It's brilliant. It works so easy. Just take Psyduck's color. Take Psyduck's beak right there. That's Psyduck, but on Golduck. For the gem and for its eyes, I went ahead and just took Psyduck's shiny coloration and applied it to those. Once again, this is not the most well or professionally done picture, but I think the design itself actually, or the coloration actually, comes out looking pretty good. The yellow somehow makes it look even more reptilian and beastly, even though, like, yellow is a color a duck can be, so I don't know why it made that change, but to me it almost makes it start looking like a dinosaur. Maybe I'm thinking too much of Agumon and Greymon from Digimon. I don't know. Either way, I was happy with how this turned out, but once again, my artwork wasn't the best, so I had it kind of lower on the list. Coming in at number 7 was another recommendation from a friend, from my friend Caleb. Happy birthday, buddy. I'm recording this on your birthday. And he was shiny hunting Flamigo. And so he just immediately, when I was like, hey, are there any you'd want to see? He's like, Flamigo, it needs to be a better shiny. It's not super distinguishable. When you see it in the wild, That's not a whole lot different. I guess the pink is quite a bit different, but when you're just kind of looking for a pink flamingo and you just see another pink flamingo, it's probably kind of hard to notice, especially when you're far away. And even if not just being hard to notice, it just doesn't look good, right? Like, I get it. I love animals. I love science. I understand that this is like a thing in nature with flamingos. What they eat depends on what level of brightness or dullness or light or dark that the penguin will be. And that is a really cool thing. I just said penguin. Flamingo, you get it. But looking at this, I don't know. It's just not an exciting shiny. Flamigo already has like a kind of funnily normal name, and its design isn't that crazy. It does, like, its mouth opens higher than you would expect, right? Like, it's not a bad design. It's just, it's kind of normal. And the least they could have done is give it a shiny that would kind of make it pop more. So how do we go about doing that? You could make it something flamboyant and vibrant that really sticks out, that would look cool. You could try to make it kind of look more intimidating, since this is a semi-aggressive Pokemon. It's a fighting type. But I kind of liked the thought of still having it be a color that could occur in nature in a flamingo. And there are a couple different colors they could have, but I actually liked the thought of it being white, weirdly enough. I don't think there are enough good white shinies out there. And so I think adding this to the mix would be cool. Now, you might be kind of thinking that's just a swan. And that's kind of what I liked about it, right? Like, the part on its face kind of looked like a mask. And so I said, what if we made it a black mask, kind of like the black visor looking type of thing that a swan has on it. Now, if a swan were made, a swan Pokemon, like, had they made Swanna look like this, it may have been a little disappointing, right? Like, oh, you just made the swan look like a real swan. But with it being a completely different bird, I don't know, that made me laugh. I thought it was kind of funny, the thought of a Flamigo being the swan, kind of almost like an ugly duckling thing, actually being a swan, blah, blah, blah. But I thought it looked good. The black and pink, I think, are two great colors that go together. The white contrasts that, really makes it pop out from the pink, adds a little bit of personality and flair to it. So maybe not the best design, but I was happy with how it turned out. Coming in at number 7, we have, 7 and 6. I got my things out of order. We've got Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri has 3 forms, meaning it has 3 different shinies. I appreciate that they did this, because they could have had the 3 forms and then been like, okay, all the shinies are going to be white. To me, that would have been a very huge bummer, because then we would have been like, wait, which shiny do I have again? But they kind of did that anyway, because 50% of all Tatsugiri are orange. What's up with that? It would have been so easy to just not do that, right? Orange Tatsugiri just looks like it got dipped in chocolate for its shiny. Yellow Tatsugiri, they're like, well, could we just kind of make it look like orange Tatsugiri? Yeah, you could. Me and my friend were shiny hunting one day in a Union Circle, trying to see who could get one of these first. I got one. It was yellow. I tried to kill it. Luckily, the Let's Go method doesn't let you kill shinies, because I just thought it was a normal orange one. It actually looks pretty good up close, but the fact of the matter is, they made the pink one a lot different, turning it from this dark, deep pink to just white, which I think looks great. Why couldn't they have made the other ones more different? So that's what we're going to be doing here, because they could have done so much better with this. This is a great Pokemon. Based off of Sushi, are you kidding me? I love Pokemon. I love Sushi. They're adorable. It's so funny how skeptical they look all the time. Like, yeah, you're either going to try to catch me or try to eat me. And either way, I don't appreciate it. I love the personality they have. So let's give them a better shiny. And I was kind of thinking, how do we go, like, with such a big difference, kind of like they did with the pink to the white. And I thought back to, you have grade school art, and they taught you about complementary colors, right? The color wheel. On this side, you got yellow. So on the other side, you got purple. On this side, you got orange. The other side of it would be blue. I kind of did that. I actually made the orange one turn teal and turquoise, which are like half green, half blue, right? People maybe would argue they're more green. That's fine. They don't actually have to be the complementary color. Just that type of thing, where we're going sheer opposite here. And then yellow and purple, you know, color combo that a lot of people like together. I thought about doing part purple, part yellow, but that's what they just did. They left part of the normal color on there for too many of them. I wanted it to be completely different, so I did teal with turquoise and 2 different shades of purple. I liked how these went together. I liked the little accents, and I think they made these look a lot more fun. You know, I would eat purple sushi, but but just more thinking about the fact that, yeah, I could look at these out in the wild, and I could see, oh, that's very different. It's not, oh, is this an orange shiny? an orange shiny or a regular orange. Instead, they all get their own personality added to that. I think they look really cool. I wish this is what they were, because then when I was shiny hunting for a Tatsugiri, I wouldn't just be hoping like, oh, I hope it's the pink one, otherwise the shiny is going to be annoying. And instead, this would be fun to get no matter what you got. So, coming in, we're going to the top 5. I don't know if I'm ranking these 10 to 1 as in this was the best one or my favorite. These are just kind of the order I felt like they flowed in, though I will say the top 2 are my favorite, so I guess we're kind of going that way. So, coming in at number 5, we have something that I shiny hunted for recently, being Rotom. I love this Pokemon. I love that it gets so many different forms. Something they did that bothers me that the Tatsugiri family didn't do is they just have every form have the same shiny coloration. So that's probably going to be a future video at some point, is just coloring all the Rotom forms. Maybe I should have saved Rotom for that, but I had an idea for it that I wanted to use, and I was a little bit frustrated by the shiny because I had shiny hunted one recently. On screen, that actually looks different enough that I think a lot of us might say, hey, that's actually a pretty good shiny. It is not that way in the game. That red and orange are very similar, especially with how tiny it is. And then, like, yeah, it has that blue and yellow aura, but the colors really aren't that pronounced in the game. You just kind of see, like, okay, yeah, I could see that being kind of a bluish tinge, but really it more just looks like light, right? Which makes sense. It's a light bulb. I get it. I just feel like they could have done the shinies better. So I kind of wanted to do that, even though, like I said, I think it's a fine shiny. I wanted to try to upgrade it. Thinking about the fact that I think all of them should get different forms, it kind of would make sense for that to maybe be matched to their types. So I thought, hey, why not do that here? Because you could do a lot of different shiny colorations with Rotom, but I wanted it to kind of make sense. This is a ghost that uses electricity to possess different types of appliances, so ghost is purple to me. Electric is yellow to me. I kind of took the thought of it already having the yellow glow being light, made it a little more bright yellow just because I liked how it looked. Just 2 colors that I really enjoy here. I thought they were kind of fun together. Maybe it's a little much. Maybe it really pops out at you, but it's a small Pokemon. I want it to pop out. I want to be able to see when it's shiny. I was just happy with how it turned out. I think it's a lot of fun. This is a good Pokemon. I think a good shiny could help it even more. So going in, we've got number 4 and number 3. That's right, we're doing another 2-parter. I had a viewer comment a shiny that they'd like buffed, and they actually gave me a few, which I appreciated. It gives more ideas for content, and they really like Leafeon and Glaceon, and I agree. Those were 2 really cool Pokemon. I remember when they came out. Always happy to have more evolutions. I hope we get more in the future. Being ice and grass, things that are like just so different but coming out at the same time, that was a very cool thing. How they used to have their own special stone. It was kind of a cool, epic part of the game. I'm glad they changed the stone to just Leaf and Ice Stone, but these are just cool Pokemon. Looking at their shinies, you know, and actually these are just pictures I found online. These are actually a little bit better than how they'll look in game, because really they're just like, okay, Leafeon is green and brown. Hey, like trees and dirt. Let's just make it more green and more brown. Okay, Glaceon, it's ice. Let's make the blue more blue. Let's make part of its blue more white because snow. I get what they're doing. It kind of makes sense. It's just too easy, right? Like, it looks fine, but they could have done better. So, how do you really go about doing better here, though? I actually kind of struggled with that. I went through a lot of color combinations, and I kind of felt myself going and being like, well, maybe I just don't do these because maybe it's too hard to find one that looks good on them or makes sense. You know, I didn't want to just kind of default to being like, oh, Leafeon's a grass type. Let's make it shiny autumn, right? It just felt too easy. And so then just being kind of dumb, I just switched them. I gave Leafeon's coloration to Glaceon for the shiny. Vice versa, Glaceon to Leafeon. I did it kind of to be dumb, and I ended up falling in love with how it looked. So that's kind of where we're at with this. And it's kind of fun to think about because you probably heard the old tale when you were a kid. You know, there were settlers going to Iceland and Greenland, and they named Greenland and Iceland opposite of what they are to trick the other ones. And I'm pretty sure that was proven not to be true. Maybe there was some truth to it. I don't remember. I'm not great with history. But it is cool because if you look at Iceland, there's a lot of beautiful greenery. There's a lot of awesome looking areas. If you look at Greenland, it's cold. There are a lot of snowy places. So this kind of plays off of that tale a little bit, and it's just a funny thought, right? Like, I give my Eevee a leaf stone, and it looks like a Glaceon, and I'm confused for a second, like, did I do something wrong? Did I mess up my shiny here? And then you realize, oh yeah, that's the shiny. They switched them. Grass and ice, completely different in nature, becoming the opposite. It was just a fun thing to do. Like I said, I wasn't planning to do that, but I enjoyed how it turned out, so here we are. That's number 4 and number 3, Glaceon and Leafeon shinies upgraded. You might disagree on that one, and I'm going to say, you know what, fair. But I like how they turned out. Top 2, very excited about both of these. At number 2, we've got Mimikyu. When Mimikyu came onto the scene, I think it became popular pretty quickly. At first, I remember people being kind of unnerved by it, like, I'm not sure what to think. It's kind of cute, it's kind of spooky, and then you kind of realize, I guess that's the point. It's a ghost and fairy type. It's kind of supposed to be drawing from both worlds there. And the more you find out about it, the more you like it. It had a really cool totem fight in the games. It had cool scenery. It was tough to beat. It's got a great ability. Its typing so good and competitive. And then also, you're like, you find more about its story. And you kind of fall in love with it that way. It's supposed to be this hideous and terrifying beast that if you look on its true form, you could die. And it's like, whoa, that's harsh. And it wants to look like Pikachu because it saw trainers loving their Pikachus, and it saw how popular it was throughout the world, and it just wanted that. Wow, let's all go cry together. That's really cool, really sad, but that's a really cool design idea. But unfortunately, its shiny is just like, oh, what if we made it gray? Like, I guess I kind of get what they're doing. Are they trying to make it more like black and white to be spooky, to go in with the theme it is a spooky Pokemon? But then it's also like, well, actually, are we just being lazy here? Did they just throw a black and white filter on it and go, yeah, that'll work, spooky? I'm not here for it. It's too good of a Pokemon. They could have done better. So thinking about how do we go about this? How do we make this even better than what it could be? And I start thinking about its inspiration. It's based off of trying to look like Pikachu. So your first thought is, oh, okay, so you make Mimikyu, you make its shiny look like a shiny Pikachu. Hey, to attract trainers, like, hey, this is a shiny. Sure. But, like, do Pokemon even know they're shiny? Like, I don't know. To me, it just seemed kind of weird. And also, Pikachu's shiny is not that great. Maybe another idea for a future video. That could be on there. So, well, what's something else related to Pikachu? Hopefully you're all screaming at your screen right now that it's obviously Raichu. And I think this color scheme worked out really cool. Not only do I love the thought of like a Mimikyu seeing a trainer like that loved its Pikachu so much that it gave it a Thunderstorm because it wanted to be at its strongest and best form, and let's be honest, Raichu has a cooler design. I love the thought of a Mimikyu doing that and being like, oh, that's how I'm going to disguise myself. And it just so happened this was a special shiny one. Maybe that's too good to be true. I just thought it was funny. But something I really didn't plan is this is supposed to be this Pokemon that you think of around Halloween during the ghost season. And it actually, color-wise, fits really well with Halloween, right? You see orange everywhere because of pumpkins and because of leaves on the ground. You see yellow because of the leaves falling during fall. You see brown because of all the trees and everything. It fits kind of the aesthetic of Halloween and fall really well, which is like spooky season. So I really didn't plan that. I just wanted to make it look like Raichu. But the more I looked at it, I was like, oh, this is perfect. And you know what? I'm sure whoever designed this put a lot of thought into it, but come on. It's right there. How did they not think of this? So anyway, I'm glad I did because now I get to look at it and I'm proud of what I thought up. I think it looks pretty good despite my lackluster skills. Really happy with how it turned out. But now we're on to number 1. This is a Pokemon that I adore so much. I really wanted to put it into the first video, but I just couldn't think of a great shiny for Tinkaton because I had so much going through my head. How do I want to do this? This Pokemon's hilarious. It's this adorable little pink thing with a hammer twice its size. The Gigaton Hammer, hugely powerful attack. It's a hilarious thought. It gets even funnier when you find out more about the lore, finding out that this thing is a little savage. It attacks Corviknights for no reason. People can't fly on Corviknight in this reason because Tinkaton is too busy chucking rocks at it with its hammer. On top of that, Corviknight resists Tinkaton's stab moves. Resists Fairy, resists Steel, and Tinkaton's like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep attacking you anyway. And apparently it works because apparently their hammer is made out of Corviknight scraps. That's crazy, guys. This is a great Pokemon. It's fun to use. Really good design. Very lackluster shiny. This is what they came up with. And, you know, at first it's like, well, is the hammer supposed to be like wooden instead of metal? And maybe that's like leather around it. That's kind of cool. A lot of people's theory is that this came from the shiny Corviknight scraps and then the silver rusted and this is the color it became. Maybe that's it. I don't know if I love that, because then it's like, okay, the Corviknight was shiny, but the Tinkaton's not shiny. The Tinkaton's not just a hammer, it builds the hammer. So, and yeah, I shiny hunted a Tinkaton. When I looked at it, I was like, I'm pretty sure the pink is like a little deeper than a normal Tinkaton. And then I saw it in a raid side by side, my shiny versus a normal, and I was like, nope, it's the exact same. So, do we just change the hammer? Do we just change the body? I mean, it builds it. Or do we change both? There's a lot of ways you could go with this. I drew up like 4 different shiny variations for this, trying to figure out what I liked best. First, I decided I want this thing to be red. I want it to be as demonic as its heart is when it's attacking these Corviknights. I want it to just be this beastly looking thing that still like shows its cuteness. Pink to red. Such kind of like a classic transition of like, oh, it's good. Oh, hey, now it's kind of evil, right? It has that demonic type of look. And to me, I just thought, let's make the hammer accent that, right? I could have made the hammer gold just because that would have looked cool. I thought about, hey, do I change Corviknight shiny, maybe make it gold or something like that? I don't know. Corviknight has a good shiny, maybe at some point, but I kind of like where it's at. Do we just make the hammer silver to be like Corviknight's shiny form? Do we kind of keep the hammer how it is because Tinkaton changed? I actually decided I just liked the thought of having it be black and silver because I just thought it looked really good with the red. I do like that it still has the silver to kind of be like, yes, this came from Corviknight. Maybe sometimes when the metal gets dislodged as it changes through time, I don't know, maybe it blackens. Or maybe I just like the color black and thought it looked really good with this. Anyway, I'm very proud of how this turned out. This was easily my favorite one. This might be my favorite one I've done. I don't know. I liked the volcanic looking Copperajah a lot too, so... But anyway, this is my list. These are the shiny types I came up with. Tell me, what do you think? Be honest with me. Are some of these lame? Are some of these cool? I just had so much fun doing this. I want to keep doing these in the future. I'm not going to keep doubling it every time, right? I'll probably usually do somewhere between 5 and 10 for this video. But if there's ever any you want to see, throw them my way. If you want to send me your designs, I might see what I can do about maybe even getting one in a video. Or just make them just for the fun of it. Anyway, let me know what you thought of the video. Like and share if you feel like it deserves it. If you like the background that I used here, this is actually something really cool my dad did, mixing oil and bubbles and then throwing colors in there to make it look kind of cool. So that's what I came up with. Let's see what you got. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you made it to the end of the video, you are a legend. Have yourself a great night. Peace.